Let's go to Peter on line 3. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Pete. How are you today?
Very good. Peter Whittle.
Yes. How are you?
Very good.
Good. Just was calling. That post office issue is going to be daunting. I can't imagine anywhere in the world where the post office has to break even as a service everybody deserves. But I guess that's a talk for another day. But if the federal government can't provide us with a universal post office, I don't know what else they can provide us.
Well, not everything can be expected to pay for itself. We don't expect, stadiums or swimming pools or facilities like that and other services to pay for itself. We just understand that for a certain quality of life, the government collects taxes and spends it, providing those things that don't.
Yeah, and Peter, as you said, the post office makes a profit every year. They had a decline last year, but it was the same year as a big national strike. So any organization or corporation that has a strike like that is going to have a tough year, but they've made money, profits over the last couple of years. So I find it hard to believe they're going to push these initiatives down people's throats and change the services dramatically. I think they just need to go back to the drawing board. Pete, what I wanted to talk to you about today, if it was all right, is I understand it's Mental Health Day. And I just wanted to talk about mental health and suicide. As you're probably aware, they're the biggest risk facing Canada's youth today, and that after 16, teachers or counselors can't give information to parents unless the child agrees. And I've spoken to parents, mental health advocates, school guidance counselors. There's a lot of frustration out there at the moment, and the various public affairs programs like your own, I mean, you listen any given week, there's lots of calls about mental health and the lack of supports. Just last week I heard a young person speak to you not knowing where to go for help. Much talk about mental illness beginning in adolescent years and the importance of making sure there's help available for young people. And, not only has the government not acted, but parents, I would argue, have no idea how this 16 rule works until they have a problem, and it's often too late. For example,
I wasn't aware of it.
No, well, you're going to be surprised then to hear some of this, because I was surprised. I first became aware of this when I got on the executive of the Federation of School Councils, and as well I've had some friends that are having some difficulties with some of their adolescents' children, and you don't know what you're into until you get there. I know I've always taken the position as a father. I have 3 boys. We have good communication, but anything can go wrong. But, I've always said, no, guys, until you're 18 and from underneath my roof, I'm the boss. Well, apparently that's not the case. If you take your child into the Janeway at the age of 16 or older, you cannot be in on the consultation if the child does not agree. And they will also have a social worker who will tell them that, that is the case and that they can make the decisions. And if they do not wish to go home with mom or dad, social services will take care of them. Many of us feel that the age of majority is 18. You can't drink until you're 19. You can't vote till you're 18. Students cannot access student loans independently until they're 21. Parents have to contribute. Yet at 16, in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, they are making life-changing decisions. I believe the wheels are off the bus.
Well, it is all over the place. That age seems to change depending on what you're talking about, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me sometimes. It seems like it's reverse of what it should be. But 16, really, how many 16-year-olds are guiding their lives single-handedly? Very few. And if they should, most shouldn't be, that's for sure. So it does seem odd to me that would be the age at which they start to, or you start to need their consent for a lot of things. They are still essentially dependents. And not only in a financial way, they need the guidance and expertise of their parents, or whoever's, speaking on their behalf, I suppose. I was not aware of that, and I think that's perhaps very rarely in the best interest of the young person.
Well, in all fairness, I know the Federation of School Councils, the former chair, Ruby Hoskins, I was involved with the organization when she was there, made a number of presentations to government to discuss this issue, and really nothing has happened. And it's unbelievable that the child has all the rights at 16, and we've been trying to look for changes. For example, and we've looked at other jurisdictions and offered solutions as well, because, if you're very engaged with your child, and then at 16, you really can't have any input if they don't want you to have input. Are they mature enough to make decisions about addiction services or other mental health issues that they may be facing? In Alberta, the Alberta's Protection of Children Abusing Drugs Act allows for parents of children under the age of 18 to be more involved in strikes of balance, because you need to have a balance in abusive situations. Parents can apply for a protection order for treatment of the child, and if the court agrees, the parents or guardians the court will enforce this treatment. But in Newfoundland and Labrador, if the 16-year-old says, no, I'm not going for treatment, they don't have to go.
How long has this been the case, Peter?
That's been the case for a number of years now. And it's scary for parents doing their best and fearing they're failing, wanting the best for the children, and it's taken out of their hands into a system that will most certainly fail them. Pete, just before Christmas, the Child Youth Advocate released a document called 16. It was in the media, and this is the story. And I encourage everybody out there to download it. You can get it off the child website. It's a PDF. And just look what happened in this situation. You had a young fella whose parents or mother was very concerned, wanted to be involved. It was really taken out of her hands at 16, and all the safeguards that were supposed to be put in place failed. Yeah. And that's the one where the man died in the fire.
Right.
And you would say to people, you don't know what rights you don't have until it hits you, and it's very serious. And I'd ask people to ask themselves, do you feel teens have the emotional maturity at 16 to be making this type of life decision that the law permits? And I would propose that the Newfoundland government stop procrastinating on this issue and look at the amendments that are in place in Alberta and other places, because government needs to address right now what I consider to be the ill-balanced rights of teens at the age of 16. The wheels are off the bus. I don't see who this services. And today being Mental Health Awareness Day, and this being an issue that I've been involved with and will continue to be involved with, I think the Federation may have some meetings coming up with the Department of Health. We last met with them 2 years ago to discuss these issues and these concerns, and here we are 2 years later with a bunch of youth mental health issues in the media over the last couple of years. There's some issues at the Janeway, and then I think there were some other further ones with tied to the Waterford and other issues you hear in the media. And this report 16, nothing's been done to date, and I don't think people are aware. I really think that
I think you're right.
I certainly wasn't aware until I got involved with the Federation, and then a few friends of mine had some issues, and they came to me and they said, Peter, are you aware I took my daughter to the Janeway and this is what happened? And I said, go away, that can't be the case. And of course, when you check into it, it is.
Yeah, it's a suspect age. I think as long as they're in the secondary school system, we're still guiding them. We're still part of the development. I think that needs to be looked at. I don't know where, a determination of age 16 would have come from. 18 sounds minimum. You can't tell. I know people who are 18 and far more mature than some people I know who are 40. But you can say generally, under a certain age, it's better to err on the side of caution and leave some of the decisions in the hands, the final decisions in the hands of their caregivers.
Well, Peter, I would just, whoever comes up with this stuff, and I'm sure it's studied to death, and they look at, they get in conferences and they discuss this stuff, and you want to empower youth and all that. And I'm not opposed to that. But why would you tell someone they're not mature enough to decide who can and who cannot represent them in the House of Assembly, on a municipal council, or in the House of Commons? You'd also say to a child, you're not mature enough. Your brain isn't ready enough for you to drink alcohol until you're 19. But at 16, at 16 years of age, you can chart your own course with regards to addictions and health problems, and your parents can't be involved. And not only can you your own course, your parents are completely cut out. If your daughter was to get pregnant and she didn't want you to know, and the guidance counselor at your school knew, they cannot tell you.
Yeah, there's an incongruity there for sure. Peter, listen, thanks for this. I'm sure it's going to stimulate some discussion, and it's high time.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to bring the issue up, because I really think more people need to know about it, and I hope there's more discussion. Thanks, Peter.
Me too. Thanks again.
Bye.